recognize that in awareness, there is a lot of space. That in awareness, there is a lot of space. The space is actually infinite. In your awareness, there's a lot of space. It's actually infinite. It's actually boundless. And as you descend a bit lower, then you start getting in touch with all that you know, with all that is presently here in your senses. That's when relativity comes back in. The life stream comes back in. But I want you to stay just for a few more moments, pausing, stopping, being in awareness, and just recognizing there is infinite space. We're not stepping into life right now. Don't touch life right now. There is infinite space, and you're simply present, aware, and you don't know anything right now. There's no need to know anything. We're not touching that. If you touch knowing, you're back in the river. So don't touch it for a second. Just for a second, you can do that. So this is the new space. It is the space. This space is never old. What is old is only what is known, what is familiar to such an extent that it is known and it is old. So what is old is what is known. But this present moment, when everything stops, you're aware, there is infinite space, nothing is known. So there is nothing old. It is beyond old and new. It is just unknown. And that's where comes in the known, the old and the new. The old, the present, and the new. Of course, we're looking forward to the new, but the biggest news is that the present space is even more than the new. It's amazing, it's unknown, it's open. It's even better than the new. So this is how we can step in beyond time into the space for anything in the whole life, in the whole universe. And you have this power, you have this ability to do so at any time. Yeah, you have this ability to do at any time that you want, to step out of life, to step out of the past, the present, wherever you're going in the future, step out of the whole thing. Sometimes it's called the game or the lila. To step out of the game, past, present, future, and now you're in this open space. There's nothing old, there's nothing new. But it's alive, it's present, unknown, open. And that's your entrance beyond time. From this place, you can manage your life in a new way. Now, what happens even more interestingly is as you are in this open space and you're not touching life, you're not touching anything you know, old or new. So as you are in this space, what is only left is your energy field. We can say your own energy field, and you're also trying not to touch it, because if you do start touching your own energy field, you start interacting with time and matter. And now I will tell you where your own God self is. Your own God self is exactly in that open space, beyond time, beyond life, the river of life. And it is also around your energy field, because you have a multidimensional energy field, but your God self, not your energy field, your God self is around your energy field, which is multidimensional. Yes, it's around. And your God self, we can say, if you try to feel into your God self, it is around, let's say, between 3 to 15 meters away from this present vertical, or from this body, from the vertical place. It is around 3 to 15 meters away. So your God self is surrounding, your energy field. Your God self is surrounding your presence, your field of presence. Your field of presence, very simply put, is all your energies, all of them, like all the chakras, kundalini, whatever, aura and mental field, it's surrounding all of that. All your energies. Your God self is beyond and surrounding all of that. Your God self is all only and always in the present, always presently here. And then you see what happens, that your multidimensional energy field is also present. It has all sorts of distortions. And that's why time and space arises. And that's when your awareness starts, your focus starts shrinking, and your focus starts shrinking and becoming smaller and focused only in the time line, in the river of time, the river of life. And then when you put your head in the river, your head is in the river, but your God self is not in the river. So your God self is always beyond time, always around your energy field, and it is not affected by any imperfection of your energy field. Your God self is untouchable. There is no karma. Karma is only distortion of energy field. Or pain is only distortion of energy field. Your God self is not touched by that. Is always perfect. Your God self is always perfect. It's around your energy field. It's not touched by any imperfection. Your God self is perfection. Your God self is love, unconditional divine love. Your God self is infinite source of prana for you to do anything that you want. Your God self is source of joy, source of happiness. The only fulfillment will never be in the future. It will only be in your God self in the present. Your liberation will not be in the future. It will be in your God self in the present. So liberation, enlightenment, happiness is not in the future. You're going in a wrong direction. It's not horizontal direction. Your liberation, happiness, and joy is in the present, and not even in the present dimensional energy field. It is in your God self, which is surrounding your energy field, whether it's a 3D, 4D timeline or multi-dimensional energy field. It's always here, actually. Your God self is always here. It is never anywhere else. And that's where you get in touch with divine. How do you ever get in touch with divine? In the present. Because somehow you open up your energy field, you make a little pocket, and the divine shines through. Just like in the sky, when there is many clouds, the sun cannot get through, but when the clouds become a bit more dispersed, the sun shines through. So the sun is always present, the same way your God self is always present, and when your energy field becomes lighter and it opens up, there's a little hole, then the divinity shines through, the perfection shines through, this love shines through. So 3D and 4D people are looking for happiness only in the future. They're working on their happiness in the future, 3D, 4D people. 5D people, 6D people, 7D, 8D, 9D, whatever, they're looking for happiness in energy and in dimensions. They're going upwards. Yeah, they're no longer going sideways, they're going upwards. The dimensional people are going upwards for their happiness and all the things. But even there, you will not find the true happiness, true liberation, because if you're still going upwards, well, that's nice. It's more correct. Yeah, it's more aligned, more correct. But then you always realize that you experience this love, perfection, divinity, not in those upper places, but when they open up and your own divinity shines through. That's how you experience divinity, your God self. So making those holes in your energy field. And of course, as you know, in a more correct way, as you're going dimensionally, of course, you are becoming lighter. So you get more holes in you. You become more holy. You have more holes for the light to shine through. Yeah, that's the meaning of being holy. Having lots of holes for God self to shine in. Yeah, so holy people have a lot of holes for the divine. Yeah. So the good thing is you don't have to go anywhere really for your God self to be here. It's always here. And a little exercise, and this is a simple one, yeah, for everybody. If of course, if you find it a bit complicated what I'm talking today, don't worry. But I'll give you a simple exercise that anyone can do it. So as you are sitting down, it is easy to feel your body. That's the easiest thing to feel. And then try to feel like just a little bit around you, just like maybe half a meter around you. Okay, that's pretty sensible. That's pretty easy. You can even put your arms like this, like I'm doing, yeah, and just like put your arms around and like just see if you can feel, oh yeah, there's some kind of goo here. It's your own aura, that's your goo. It's the butter around you, that's your aura. Yeah, so this is your aura, just around you. And for some people, it's a bit difficult to feel, but don't worry about it. Now, as you extend a bit further, like 1 meter around you, okay, it's a bit less tangible. Yeah, it's a bit less tangible. You can't feel so much, but you can still feel something. Yeah, you can still feel maybe like the air breathing in, you know, like 0.5 meter, 1 meter around you. Yeah, you can kind of sense into the air, the close proximity of it. You can kind of, if a person comes closer to you, you can start sensing them like 1 meter next to you, you know, or 2 meters next to you. You can start sensing them. So the reason why I'm telling this is because it's pretty easy to feel and sense things around 3 meters around you. So if you're in the center, you can quite easily feel things like 3 meters around you. The air, the energy around, or the people around. This is your kind of your close proximity. It's called like your personal space. That's how people call it. It's my personal space. Like, hey, move out a bit. You're in my personal space. So your personal space is, let's say, kind of maybe 2-3 meters around you. And if we go like a bit more kind of 5 meters around you, it becomes less tangible, less and less tangible. And if you're sitting just neutrally, not meditating, let's say usually around 3, 5, 10 meters, and then you start losing touch. What's beyond that? So this is how far your senses go in an average way. If you're not using your extra sensory perceptions and things like that, just like 3-5 meters around you, you start losing sense what is there. Yeah, it becomes less and less sensible. So it's beyond your personal field. For people, of course, in higher consciousness, your personal field is much more expanded. It can be 10 meters, 50 meters, or even much more. So people have a different personal field, how big it is. So that's your personal field. It's pretty simple to feel in the most simple way for anybody. It's easy to feel into that. That maybe 3 meters, 5 meters, I don't feel anything anymore. That's it. Yeah, so that's your field. That's your field of senses. That's your personal energy field. And your God self is right beyond it. Just right after that. Yeah, right after that. Right beyond that edge of your personal field. Now, of course, if you're trying to use your eyes and to see things 5 meters away, you're not going to see your God self sitting on the bench 5 meters in front of you. It's not how it works. Yeah, so it's not a 3D thing either. You can't kind of sense it with your 5 senses, like hearing, smelling, touching, tasting, and so on, because your God self is not limited to the 3D senses. And even if you have extra sensory dimensional senses, it's still beyond that. But it's present. And literally just beyond. Just beyond. And if you know, now this is important. If you know that your God self is perfection, is love, is peace, is everything that you ever wanted. It is everything that you're looking for. It is the complete fulfillment. It's the end of all your desires. It's fulfillment of all your desires. The end of the search. That is your God self, and it is around you. It is around you. It is surrounding your energy field. It is surrounding your self, your lower self. And if you know that it is the perfection, the love, the peace, complete fulfillment, the final happy ever after, as in the movies, then that knowing that your God self is this happy ever after, the complete and final fulfillment, then what happens that this truth of knowing without any doubt that it is here, and the only thing that I have to do is to clean my energy field, make those holes. It is never in the future, never in the second upper dimension. It is nowhere else. Get rid of those ideas because they are postponing the perfection. They're postponing fulfillment, postponing love. All these ideas that happiness is in the future, somewhere else, on another planet, in another dimension, they're just postponements. They're not even real, because when you get there, if anyone gets to another dimension, you would realize it's always been here, and I just wasted 50 or 100 years or lifetimes thinking wrong things. Yeah, so if you know the truth that your God self is here and it's just beyond your energy field, just beyond, but it's here. It's not gonna go anywhere. Don't worry about it. And all you have to do is clear your distortions, your energy field, your multi-dimensional self, clear, make it all more open, so that make more holes for this light to shine through. So if you know that and practice this knowing, then you're gonna write off many years and decades and lifetimes of searching. You're gonna start getting rid of all these ideas of postponement. You're gonna start getting rid of all the ideas of limitations. And you're gonna start, and the more you know this truth, the more you live this truth, the more you know that this is how things really, really, really are. You're gonna see how your energy field, instead of projecting into another dimension, you will realize there's no purpose to do this. Why I'm going somewhere else? I'm just wasting my energy. Why I'm looking into the future while all that I truly want is just here. I have to get rid of this idea of the future happiness, future hopes, future fulfillments, disappointments. So the more what happens is that things start to collapse into singularity of your own God self. Your own God self is the present singularity, the source. And instead of shifting your energies dimensionally everywhere like a chaos all across the galaxy and the universe, like many star seeds and people with energetic abilities start doing, they start projecting everywhere. They start, messing everything around, so to speak, and projecting their, imperfections further out of this planet and into other dimensions. So instead of wasting your energy and projecting everywhere else, what happens knowing this truth is your energy field starts to collapse into itself, and it's called completion. You start completing your search. You start completing your desires. You start completing your happiness, completing your love. You're not going anywhere else anymore. Everything starts to collapse into the present. Everything starts to collapse into the present singularity. And that's how your God self reveals itself to you. That's how the divine reveals itself to you. And it says, now you know it. I've always been here. And this was a game of separation. It was a game of searching, hide and seek. This game is universal, because some people, they go into 4D, 5D, 6D, 10D searching for themselves. And the God self is sitting here and looking, all right, not only 3D, now 10D. Whew, that's a journey, like you're extending your parameters, you're extending your search. You're making your search even bigger, universal stuff. That's pretty, entertaining. And the God self is sitting there and saying, oh, how far are you going to go to find me right here? And then suddenly someone gets the idea, here, right here. And you turn your face from searching there into here, and you start collapsing the search. So that's the end of the search. Yeah, so this is, well, it's fundamentals of your own self. It's the fundamental knowing, the fundamental truth. And of course, if you have only mental access, it is good enough, you can start realizing, start mentally knowing, but of course it's not gonna truly open up, because you need to start fixing up your energy field, not only your thoughts, but your whole mentality, your emotional self, your mental self, your psychological self. You need to start fixing all the distortions. These distortions are multidimensional, well, primarily 3D, 4D, and then just a few more things up higher. But that's where all distortions are. And you start fixing them up and knowing that I will only find my God self here, and start overriding the false postponements, the false ideas. So you see, you start bringing the end result closer to the present, because it is in the present. So you start collapsing the distance. Yeah, the distance, and it just collapses into the present singularity, and that's how it reveals itself. And finally, the most important thing is that your God self is absolute perfection, absolute love, absolute peace. And anything that is not that, it is your dimensional things, your dimensional certain distortions or disbalances, anything which is not perfect, not love, not happiness, not peace, not joy. There are certain disbalances. So your God self is the ultimate rock of perfection, of happiness, love, and all of it. It's the source of all of it for you. Yeah, so from the eyes of the God self created many sparks, which are called souls, and then started to project into those sparks and souls and to see how they all gonna find me, my God self. What an amazing journey. It's like you make, let's say you make 1,000 babies, and you see who is gonna find the father or the mother. Yeah, you let them travel across the whole planet and you see who will come back home. And this is what the God Self does. And if you want to make your journey, quicker, then you can know this. And any perfection that you ever seek is in you, first of all, and in your God Self. It is untouchable to any distortion, to any separation, to any imperfection. It is untouchable. So rest assured, your God Self is absolutely perfect, total love, happiness, and bliss and joy. That's what your God Self is. And you are only healing, reversing, rebalancing yourself, this self, to experience your God Self. It is your ultimate power that you have. So this is how it is a total absolute beginning, newness. Because anything that you ever searched for is right in your own God Self. Forget everything old, forget everything new, change this whole process all new and come back here and just realize that I just need to take care of this energy, that energy, heal this, heal that, clear things out, and make things more lighter, clearer, more holes for my God Self to shine through. My God Self is perfect, and I can just sort out my perfect imperfections. They're not imperfect imperfections, they're perfect imperfections. Yeah, but you have to sort them out. And that's how you become a human, totally human. You completely accept your imperfections. There's nothing wrong with them. It's part of the human nature. And then you just move on further. Yes, you move on further with complete acceptance, complete allowing. You see that divine is more and more present. Your own divine is more and more present, even in this humanness, even in those whatever qualities that you have. And that's how the divine seeps in and in and in into your own God Self. So this is the fundamentals of the whole search for God, the whole search for divine, the whole search for love, for fulfillment, for absolute happiness, the everlasting happy ever after thing. Yeah, that's the end of it all, and it's not the end, it's the present of it all. It is the present of it all.